this video, I'm going to go over general characteristics of subfamily Arvicolinae, the voles plus lemming and muskrat, all of the species that we're talking about this week. So this subfamily is within family Chrysetidae. So that means it's myomorphic because everything in Chrysetidae is myomorphic. Here on this muskrat, you can see that. Zooming in, you can see on either side that vertical hole like we saw last week. So in addition to being myomorphic, unlike the ones we saw last week, this has a postorbital process. The postorbital process is square and pointing forward, so very different than the very fine pointed and backwards facing postorbital processes we saw in the squirrels. So this kind of square, jutting forward postorbital process lets you know, aha, you are in subfamily Arvicolinae within Chrysetidae. The last thing that everything in this group has are flat-crowned prismatic teeth. Now I've used these terms before, so here, flat crown, if you look directly across the side, you see there are no bumps, it's smooth. And if you look top down, you see that the tooth is outlined in enamel, but there's kind of a middle that isn't outlined. And so this should sound familiar because we saw it last week with the pack rat and the week before with the pocket gopher. One thing that is kind of different is the shape between these and the pocket gopher and the pack rat is the shape of the prisms. So here you have a bunch of little triangles and a bunch of zigzags. One way I think of it is kind of if you turn it upside down, it looks like Christmas trees. You know, a bunch of triangles sticking out, alternating sides. And we're going to be using the shape of these angles to help us identify the skulls. Specifically on this third molar, so there are 3 molars, and it's kind of hard to tell which is which unless you look clearly to see where they stop between. But on this third molar, we're going to count how many reentrant angles, that's the terminology the key uses, how many little angles are sticking inward. So in this case, I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3 kind of angles jutting in towards the mouth. So this is something that we'll be looking at for all of our species when we're trying to ID them. So to reiterate, square postorbital process and prismatic flat crown teeth and myomorphic, this is subfamily Arvicolinae. Now, I'm going to go over a bit of the differences between the other flat crown prismatic teeth. So if you get a skull that's reasonably large, like it doesn't look like a tiny vole skull, which say it's over 30 millimeters long, then these are our 4 largish flat-crowned teeth species: Undactylus, Microtus richardsoni, the water vole that I'll talk about later in another video, the Momis talpoides, and Neotoma cinerea. One way to tell them apart is the shape of the prisms. So here we have the Christmas tree with the triangles. Here, simple circles for Thomomes. And here, more like kind of flat and ovals, not in quite as much of a Christmas tree shape for Neotoma cinerea. You can also use the size. So we have the greatest lengths here for the muskrat, the water vole, pocket gopher, and the pack rat. Post-orbital process, these top 2, the water vole and the muskrat, have a square post-orbital process. Pocket gopher and Neotoma cinerea do not. And myomorphic versus sauromorphic. Thomomes is sauromorphic. These other 3 are myomorphic. So with this information, if you see that it's a flat crown prismatic teeth and it's too big to be one of the regular voles, you should be able to pretty easily figure out what it is.